Are we canceled? We got canceled.
No, we didn't get canceled.
But
Who
it's
canceled us?
I don't know. I think the culture did.
CBS?
Cancel culture.
I thought we were
Westwood One.
QVC. Isn't that free? Like people pay?
QVC.
Yeah.
That's a channel?
I think back in the day no. They're the ones that have like the paid
I know about
infomercials.
I don't know about QVC, but I know about BBC.
Oh.
The British Broadcasting
Channel.
Channel, yeah.
There's some good stuff on there.
There's the big black coffee.
Yes.
And yep. And yep.
Biblical bashing colonists.
Did we get canceled for real? Are you being serious?
I mean,
was it the host? The podcast, the hosting thing that's for the podcast?
We found a loophole and somehow we're streaming on YouTube right now despite being canceled.
Really?
Yeah.
And iTunes iTunes trying to shut down our account.
Yeah. Spotify shut us down.
Well, are we really not on Spotify anymore? Because they've been doing stuff like that. Oh, yeah. Cool. Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Is it our language?
It could. I think it's either language.
There's a language barrier?
No one curses on this podcast.
No.
Except for Nsima.
I don't. I've never said a curse word in my life, and that is a true
The
fact.
Natty Professor.
Natty.
Oh, what a funny name.
That isn't my name anymore, right? There's no social media thing that has my name as the Natty Professor.
I can't believe your parents would name you Natty with capped shoulders like this.
Yeah. It was funny when Chris was on, and I think it was Chris when he was talking about like being natty, and then he just looks at Nsima and starts laughing.
There's been a bunch of people who like haven't known how to handle that situation.
Tony Huge, I think, did a great job with that. Do you remember? He's like, so you say you're natural, right?
Yeah.
And he pointed at me, and then he chuckled.
Like,
I was like, fuck you, Tony. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and he was like, there's no reason to get into that or whatever, right? He just went on to something else.
So we won't do it in front of the kids.
Oh, that was
anyway, so you were saying about you met a Jamaican guy.
I didn't meet him. I was watching a lot of his stand-up because he's absolutely hilarious. You people should look up Jabuki something, Jabouki. He's pretty much he's a gay Jamaican comedian, and in Jamaica, like it's like they're very like not all of them, right? But it's he's even very straightforward. Like they're pretty homophobic. Now you just mentioned Jesus right here. You mentioning something about Jesus, and that brought me back to Jabuki's joke. And it was kind of funny because he went to a Catholic school when he was a kid, right? So he was like, they were teaching us about like sex ed, and we were all talking. And I was looking up at the cross, and Jesus was just standing right there on the cross. But Jesus over here looking real nice with his abs. And he was like looking all, hello, I'm Jesus and I'm shredded. And it was just kind of hilarious. But I felt so bad because I'm like, I love Jesus, but that is hilarious. I couldn't stop laughing at it.
I see what he's talking about. I mean, Jesus kind of had dick root going, right?
Like, he did. Every single cross has dick root.
Yeah, he had,
Yeah.
It's true.
That's amazing.
And he's shredded. And he's shredded.
Yeah.
But
I think he fasted for a long time.
He
40
did
minutes. It wasn't even intermittently. It was 40 days or something, right?
He did fast.
Yeah.
He lost some body fat too. Must be why he was so shredded on that cross.
Did you guys see on 22 Jump Street when they had Korean Jesus? Or maybe that was the 21 Jump Street. Was the first one or second one?
Korean Jesus?
I think it's the second one, but yeah, they had Korean Jesus.
Ooh.
And then Ice Cube, as Jonah Hill's like praying to Korean Jesus, Ice Cube just sneaks up behind him and he's like, "Don't be wasting Korean Jesus' time. Like, get out of here."
I need to rewatch that movie.
Dude, it's pretty good. Korean Jesus, yeah.
Yeah, it's comedy. But anyway, look up Jabuki.
Oh.
Just look up his first name. His last name will pop up. I don't remember his last name, but he is hilarious.
And then Jessica gave you guys the script, right? She emailed it to you guys, right?
I got it in a fax, and I can't figure out how to use it.
Still?
Do I have an email
You have the
address?
same one?
Yeah.
Did we send it to the right thing?
Yeah, Nsima@gmail.com.
Did we get it? You didn't get it? The documents.
Which documents?
The files.
Which ones?
It's under N for Nsima.
I'll have to look it up. I think I missed it. I'm sorry. Don't fire me again, please.
Is there something that we're going to talk about today? Or we're going to keep it private? Did the show actually really get canceled? Or are you guys kidding around?
We're kidding.
Okay. So you do have the files.
So I got the email. I did get the email, but it was in Braille. So I don't really know how to handle it.
Wow.
Just run your finger across it.
You can't quite put your finger on it.
Well, because the new iPhone doesn't have the hip hack, like it doesn't have the 3D touch. It has haptic.
Yeah.
I can't pronounce that
We
word.
had to use that the other day. We had to look it up. We had to look up like something in that section because I couldn't get my alarm to work. My alarm for the morning time. Yeah, haptics, right? Taptics. What is it called?
Haptic.
I can't pronounce that.
Haptics, I think, right?
English is my second language, so I can't pronounce that.
Dude, I hate being old and being like, the phone's so confusing, but the phone's so confusing. And to try to make a goddamn thumbnail for like IGTV, we need like a rocket scientist in here for that shit. To try to figure some of this shit out over here. And it's all in different ratios and resolutions, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, 16 by 9.
It's a little early to talk about resolutions, you know? I'm like, oh
yeah,
my
it's
God.
not. It's almost November. How crazy is that? Halloween's tomorrow.
Right. Yeah, it is pretty crazy. You're went by fast.
You're
Really
going to get,
fast.
you're not allowed to get any candy
I'm fine with that.
because you got to have abs.
Yeah.
And you do have some abs now.
I
How about
Yeah.
finally see something? Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Wasn't it okay? Literally,
Hey,
it was
okay,
2
don't-
weeks ago.
Don't.
I can't have herbs.
Yeah, you made up.
You
I've
said
always
this.
Okay, if you've never
Made up lies about yourself.
if something has never happened, I don't understand why it's so hard for you to like why you
Believe.
it's never happened and then all of a sudden today I messed with lighting and exhaled all the air out of my stomach and
That's so wild to me.
a little bit of definition there.
That's still so wild to me, though. Like, it's never happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
You say you can't do it, and 2 weeks later, they're there when you actually try.
Because there was momentum already going in that direction.
I'm giving you shit, man. But I got you. I got you.
It's like somebody loosened up the pickle jar type of thing.
Exactly. Yeah. You know,
Maybe-
the first guy that didn't do it, he definitely loosened it
Yeah.
before he handed it to you.
Right. And then it's easier to open, right?
Yeah.
Or is pickles too much of a phallic symbol for you guys to handle?
I like pickles.
I
Oh,
don't.
I bet you do.
Yeah.
Like,
Uh-huh.
like,
Yep.
okay.
I don't know what
Mhm.
that word is that you just used though. Phallic,
Yeah,
Mhm.
like phallus.
phallus.
It's. Are you serious?
Yeah, I legit don't know.
Just type in phallus on
Phallic root?
Google or phallic or
phallic.
yeah, just type that in.
Is that
PHA.
It is PH.
LLIC.
My dumb ass was gonna say PH to be silly because I thought it'd be F.
No, it's quite lit.
PhD.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. A pretty huge
Wait.
donkey.
Yeah, or player hating dickhead.
Player hating dickhead
Mhm.
works too.
I never tried that.
Mm-mm.
I heard that first from Kanye actually.
Pretty huge
PhD.
dig. Yeah.
Pretty huge, yeah. That was from
Mhm.
Kanye. I don't know.
Dude, he
if that
said
was
some of
from
the
somebody else
funniest stuff,
first.
but I heard he's going insane lately though.
Does he have an Instagram?
Yeah, he
He
does.
should.
You know, okay, I'm curious.
I don't
about
think
this.
Jay-Z has an Instagram, right?
He does. Funny thing about a search bar.
Jay-Z doesn't have an Instagram. No, he doesn't.
No.
Let me ask you this real quick. What would you deem a genius? Or who? Give me some
Oh,
examples of people you
oh.
believe like are
Oh.
actual, they were literal geniuses throughout history or even now.
Man, that was a...
That one cut deep.
I would have to say, like,
Did you say Disney was a genius?
yeah, I think anyone who's able to... So, like, there's a saying that says, like, if we're all thinking similarly, then we're not thinking at all.
Mhm.
And so it's just the act of somebody thinking quite differently. But, I mean, I also am kind of a believer in this weird stuff that everyone kind of has some genius in them a little bit. And then it's a matter of, like, who can elicit or who can demonstrate the most of it.
Mm-hmm.
And we see it in a lot of different ways. Like, you might see it in collegiate wrestling, because somebody's a genius because they know how to counter every single move that everyone else does, or jiu-jitsu. I'd say Hoist Gracie was a fucking genius, you know? And I would say Lil Wayne is a genius, because it's like, who has ever come onto the scene and rapped like him? Like, nobody, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Tupac, I'd say, is a genius. Like, you know, there's a lot of people that reach high levels where I would say they stick out. And maybe I don't know what the definition of genius really is. We should probably look it up. But to me, it's just someone that can execute on a really high level, that's able to be original. You know,
Yeah.
being original, being made of something different, being cut from a different cloth, type of thing. I think is, you know, if you think about the people they make like monuments of and things like that, I think those people are what separates them and makes them different is the fact that they're original. And it's hard because it's like you always kind of like Star Trek or Star Wars was after Star Trek, right? Like you always kind of like pulling or extracting from somewhere. But Star Wars is still genius in its own right.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I agree with you. I think everybody has like certain things that they can be genius at or that they are genius at. But after listening to Kanye's album, which I mean, it was interesting. Jesus is King. You know, he always compares himself to like Disney and Jobs, right? But like Jobs changed the landscape of how like you use technology, like quite literally, like that.
Yeah.
And every other smartphone is because of him. And then like Disney, he created theme parks based off of cartoons. You know what I mean? And the amount of money that's in like that is culture changing, right?
Right.
Like honestly, even the slingshot is a device that no one has ever thought about.
You're right.
Right? That's changed the way people approach training for injury. Like it's like but I don't know. Like Kanye, yeah, he's a musical genius in some ways, but that last album just
Makes you wonder.
Makes you wonder.
I see what you're saying. Like, you know, there's what Steve Jobs did with the phone is like it's changed how everyone does everything.
Yeah.
And then other companies came through. Like without Steve Jobs, there's no Mark Zuckerberg. Right?
Yeah, that's true.
Like, whoa, wait a second, what? Like maybe there would be because Facebook was also was also via your computer, right? But Instagram was like, specifically a little bit more for your actual phone, right? And then most people, let's face it, most people are using social media like through their phone, through a smartphone. And yeah, that guy changed everything. What I like about this kind of topic is that it brings up the question of like, what changed things more? Like, so it's really kind of crazy, but like my dad from the time I was really young, he always said, if you can eliminate your job, you'll be really wealthy. So if you can eliminate your job or eliminate jobs, then you're making something easier. And in this case, Steve Jobs, what did he eliminate? He like eliminated travel. So like Henry Ford, like brought travel to a whole new level. Before that you had horses, and from some stuff I've heard and just listening to some stuff through history, it would take like 3 or 4 horses to remove one horse. So like a horse would die, and it took X amount of horsepower to get rid of the horse that died because it weighed a certain amount.
Wow. Okay.
And they had a lot of problems with the horses because they would go to the bathroom everywhere. So it's like the car, the introduction of a car was cool and it was crazy and it was over the top, but it cost 3 times the amount anyone could really pay for it. And then Henry Ford came around and he invented the 9-to-5 job. He invented like lunch breaks. He invented like being good to workers and getting them paid properly. And he invented an assembly line to lower the cost. And so a car went from, I'm making these numbers up, but from what I remember, it decreased by a multiple of like 3. He took it from like $900 down to $600 down to $300, kind of like you saw with like a flat screen TV.
Yeah.
Remember the flat screen TV? You were like, whoa, I can never get a flat screen TV.
I remember that.
Then it wasn't that long after it where you're like, I'm getting me a flat screen TV. It's going to be sick. And so that's what Henry Ford did. And that, I mean, has anything changed anything more than that, than a fucking car? Maybe I guess the second coming of that would be the phone. But I would say Kanye's West music is not transformative enough to be in that category. And maybe that's like maybe those are different levels of genius.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah, because or even like the internet, right? Because like
Yeah.
without the internet, phone and everything else is like
Kabing, kabing, ksh.
Oh, the internet.
the dial-up.
Fuck, Ma, don't pick up the phone. Got to connect all over again.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I hated that.
I think that can bring us into what we want to talk about a little bit today.
Who invented the internet?
Who did invent the internet, actually?
I remember this is how fucking old I am. Jerome Bettis was playing in a championship bowl game, like the Orange Bowl, maybe.
Yeah.
And you know the bus. You got to know who the bus is, right? Played for the Pittsburgh Steelers, number 36.
Jerome Bettis.
Jerome Bettis. Oh, he's about to look it up on the internet, everybody. Anyway, the bus. Played for the Pittsburgh Steelers for a long time. Hall of Fame running back. And Jerome Bettis at that time played for Notre Dame. And Notre Dame was playing in the Orange Bowl. And I looked it up on my dad's computer via, like, my dad was telling me about, like, this internet thing. And I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, it's like live, you know, it's like, it's going to tell you what's going on right now. And I was like, but I don't understand how. It's like through, like, the phone line. And I was like, okay, now I'm even more confused. And to make matters worse, it wasn't too long before that I thought you could send like a fucking sandwich through a fax machine.
Oh, what?
Because I didn't understand what a fax machine was. He's like, oh, you can just send whatever you want through this fax machine. And I'm like, what do you mean you can send whatever you want? Like, it teleports stuff? He's like, yeah, kinda. And I was like, so you can send like a cup or a glass or like a, and he's like, no, it doesn't work that way. He's like words, like you can send words. I'm like, why would anybody care about sending words to each other? But that's what people used for a long time is fax machines. But anyway, yeah, Jerome Bettis, whenever the hell the Notre Dame played in a bowl game, that's when my dad was showing me about the internet.
Damn.
Wow. That's wild.
That was before people used it for porn.
Yeah.
Or maybe not. Maybe people were using it for porn right off the bat. Maybe that's how it was made.
Honestly, I would anticipate that it wasn't too far off when it started, that people started beating it to it.
People are
like real talk.
People were like, we can get dirty pictures.
Yeah.
That was it.
And now we can get dirty videos.
Yep.
And now we're on to something.
Yep.
Well, I remember, I think, it was on a podcast, but they were talking about, like, that's what made cell phone screen sizes so big.
Oh, God.
Because
porn.
What ended up happening is you can now get porn on your phone. So it's like, well, I don't want this small little screen. I
need HD and a larger screen.
Yeah, all the HDs.
Nobody thought about this. Nobody was like, hey, like, we shouldn't be able to look at everything on the internet. There was no discussion.
I guess not.
Maybe a woman created the internet then?
I looked it up. It said that these two guys, Robert E. Kahn and Vint Cerf, internet inventors. Who knows how accurate that is? That's just Google. So
yeah, I looked it up. There's all kinds of different answers.
Yeah.
And then Bettis was in college in '92. That was the last
92.
year. He ended up skipping his senior year and just went straight to the NFL.
Yeah, that's like when I became aware of the internet. Any idea when the internet actually came around? Was it actually
It was
the internet?
a long time ago.
Like the 60s or something,
Yeah.
right? Or 70s?
Let's
But like
see.
it really wasn't doing anything forever, right?
Yeah, because weren't you saying that people were afraid that it would just lead to oh shit.
Mass confusion?
Sorry, no, this I get our podcast confused with another podcast, but I think it was Rogan saying that even initially people were worried about submitting information to the internet because then it would be like what's happening today, where like you get ads for shit.
Yeah.
But that was like one of the first things that they thought about back then.
Huh.
It's like, whoa, interesting.
Mm.
First internet.
Well, yeah, that is, the internet is interesting. But I think, Mark, when did you first get your hands on like using the internet, like really using the internet?
Using the internet?
Yes.
Like for what it was, for its main intention?
I just spit.
Okay, so like, using the internet, and then when did you first discover the possibilities of what you can use the internet for?
Oh, man. I don't really know. I don't think I had a day where I was like, whoa.
You don't remember the day or
no
video or
no
Video.
I'm trying to think like anything that I can recall that's like that, any like pornography or whatever is through like video.
Oh, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, we're talking about porn. But anything I can think of is more through like video, just because like that's what we had. We
Oh
had
yeah,
fucking-
that's old school.
Yeah, we had VHS tapes. And then scrambled porn. You know anything about scrambled porn?
Tell me, I don't know about it actually.
Scrambled porn, when you go to like change the channel.
I've heard of that.
It would be like scrambled, and it's like, come on, they don't know that they're giving you that signal like that for just a split second, and you could see some booby, and you'd be super pumped. You're like, I saw a titty, I think, and you're like, oh, and you gotta flip back to their channel and flip back again. And you're like, I saw something else.
Yeah,
I remember my cousin saying that this one TV in their house got it like way clearer than any other TV that they've
and then
ever
all
seen.
the kids started coming
so
over.
Naturally, like, hey, let's go watch TV. Makes no sense, but this one TV with the same stupid signal that all the other TVs had was the one that actually like could decode the scramble. And
I remember, I think
extra.
it was like 5th grade. Like some kid brought in like dirty magazines, right?
Yeah.
And everyone's talking about this dirty magazines that he brought in. I was like, what is everyone talking about? Dirty magazine? Like, what the hell's a dirty magazine? And then I saw it like on the playground. I saw like a centerfold or something, you know, the middle of the magazine or whatever.
Yeah.
Opened up. I saw it like on the playground, like on the basketball court. And I was like, that ain't a dirty magazine. My brothers have tons of those.
That's fucking awesome. We have all of those in our house.
Oh yeah, just it's a bunch of naked ladies.
Issue 62. We got that one.
That's fine. That's totally normal.
Oh man. But like, all right, but real talk, you know, we wanted to talk about like what habits that either we started or have been going on with, or what habits that we stopped that we think have, you know, made a difference in each of our lives. And on the subject of good old gravy porn, I don't do that anymore because I started watching that when I was like 11.
Oh my God.
Right. I was 11, and that's like high speed internet stuff. You know, LimeWire. If anybody knows what I'm talking about, I know that if you are listening to this and you're like 24, 25, 26, 27 years old, you know what LimeWire was. You know what it is.
It's pretty scary because you can't like filter, like you can't like there should be some sort of system like where you can kind of like level your way up as you get older, like you can watch like crazier stuff or something. But no, it's not the way it works. If you're 8 years old and you start to figure out what's going on the internet.
Yeah. So like I was just sitting there one day, you know, doing my homework, and then I went to LimeWire to try and download some 50 Cent because I wanted, you know, some 50 Cent. And I was typing in some stuff, and some stuff pops up. I'm like, click, download. I didn't even know what it was. Wasn't even searching for it. Play, it's a video, and it's, wow, this is cool. What are they doing?
This is a lot better than 50 Cent.
This is a lot better than 50 Cent, right? Yeah, that is classic LimeWire. Anyway. Yeah,
it was so risky downloading anything off of LimeWire.
Oh, bro, I messed up so many computers. My mom was like, "Why do your computers keep getting messed up?" I don't know, Mom. It's the internet.
Yeah, and why would a computer get messed up from it? Like, make matters even worse.
Viruses.
But I know, but the computer can handle all kinds of shit, but it can't handle porn just to embarrass the fuck out of you. That's all it's for.
Oh man. Yeah.
The connection must be really slow.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened.
Yeah, man.
I got to defrack my computer. You remember doing that?
Yes. Yes, I did that so much, and it didn't do shit.
It didn't do anything.
It didn't do
just
anything.
made you feel better because you were doing something.
It did, man. But anyway, having that at such a young age, like I just like that was a thing, and it affected me mentally as I got older. So I got to a point where it's like, I have a real problem here. Like this is too much. So I had to like, I had to like find a way to quit, and I did. And from there, quitting that for me personally, because I started at such a young age, quitting it made a big difference for me positively. Like I just like felt better with the way I was towards women, and just focus, all types of stuff. But that was one thing for me. And I think the reason why is because I started so young. You know, people like guys in my generation, there does seem to be a huge issue because of like how their brain forms, focusing on that. And yeah, it's worse for the younger guys.
How did you find a way to quit? Did you watch like a YouTube video or something? Like,
actually, I did see some YouTube.
Was there like a mentor type figure that you saw talking about it or something like that?
Oh, no, I was too scared to talk to anybody about that stuff like that. I figured like after some time, like I came across something called NoFap. People know what that is. Anyway, yeah, people know what that is.
Just not whacking off.
Not whacking off to porn. trying not to whack out to porn because
But you can still whack off.
you like you can.
But you got to use your imagination.
Just look at a white wall, pretty much.
Yeah.
I'm kind of serious, kind of joking. But the reason why it's so dangerous, like especially for a younger individual to do that to porn, is because of like the link that they have to that and to a real, especially for young men, to real women. So instead of like, this happens to a lot of young men who started when they were younger and their brains were like developing with that. They don't look at women the way they should look at women. They don't even try to seek them out because, well, if I can
I'm
just,
just wondering whether their butthole's waxed or not.
right? like yeah, let me get
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
yeah, right. But it really just, and even their interaction with women is very, very different if they've just been, you know, having this quick fix all the time with pornography. So like that's why I think like the advent of the internet, I think my generation was an experiment because guys that were like me who like it was fresh then and you could actually download that stuff, they were, you know, starting off with that. Whereas like guys like in your generation, when you probably started seeing high speed internet porn, potentially you were like already 21, 22.
Yeah.
Like you were pretty good. Like you like, that probably didn't mess you up that
Right.
much. But for guys in my generation, like it a lot of guys, maybe they don't think it's an issue. It really probably is an issue, you know, because like it makes a big difference if you're
I
formed
think it
on
might
that
be
stuff.
an issue for everybody, period.
I
like-
agree.
Like it
I
could
agree.
just definitely be just like a cup of coffee, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it could be just something that you rely on too much. You do too much of it. But like this is why like in religions they have in some cultures they'll have women covered up head to toe. And there's some religions where the only person that ever sees the woman's hair, their full hair without it being covered up, maybe is like their husband.
Yeah.
You know, and it's, you know, they barely even show like their ankles. And in those cultures, you know, the women are, you know, they're not treated well at all. But I guess the point is that they're trying to like contain stuff, right? And this has been done in religion for a long time. And so there's always going to be perversions of stuff. There's always going to be, and that's why I say like with any new technology, people are going to all of a sudden turn it into pornography
Yeah.
as soon as they possibly can. Like, oh, I can put on these glasses and I can be in like a 3D world. Like this is cool. Some kid that like maybe can't travel the country because he gets really sick can now see New York City. He could see the fucking Grand Canyon, and he can be in Malaysia, and he can be all over the place,
You can
right?
see all the canyons.
Yeah,
You can
or
see all
yeah,
the
yeah,
canyons.
or you can have a bunch of pornography going on. You know?
Yeah.
So it's like you can't really do anything about it. You can't really put a cap on it because a lot of other cultures are really fucked up because of it. I mean, really fucked up all the way to the point where they drive fucking planes into your buildings because there's the way everything's set up is so jacked up and so suppressed. I mean, that's really all everything's all about anyway. It's always all about getting laid. We talked the other day about how everything reverts back to your penis, right? Like it sort of does in some weird way. I mean, we're all dealing with different issues from people maybe not getting enough, or maybe looking at it too much, or like there's a lot of different degrees of all this, and so
Yeah.
it's a crazy topic to try to make any sense of. But I would just say that there's the level of pornography that's out there that's free, that you can just access it's terrifying. It's really scary. Like I don't want my kids or any other kids like just being exposed to it when they're not ready for it.
Yeah.
That's definitely the hard thing with like but what this goes with like the cell phone, and then of course like the internet and stuff. Like I don't want to tell Jasmine like, no, you can't touch anything, like because then what happens the second she gets a little bit of freedom, she goes insane, right? Yeah. Well, not insane or per that way, but but yeah. So I don't know exactly how to like set up the right roadblocks to be like, don't do that, but still take advantage of how dope the internet can be.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah, there are apps and stuff. I'm sure you guys are probably kind of aware of them. we have apps that we can shut down our kids' phones at certain times of night and things like that. And then I've communicated with my children, but who knows what your kids actually do.
Mm-hmm.
Try to teach them the best you can and try to, explain things to them the best you can. And then their decisions are ultimately their decisions. My kids are, 12 and 15. So they're getting older. I try to allow them to, use their own caution, use their own intelligence towards stuff. But it's hard, and it's hard to like figure out where to draw a line. But I've told my kids for a long time, like, I really only want you communicating with people in person. So communicating with people in person is where I want you to, that's the way I want you to do things. That's the way I want you to conduct yourself. I don't want you communicating on devices. And if you are communicating on a device, it has to be someone that we all know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I have to know them, and not only know the kid you're talking to, I need to know the parents. I want to know, because like if it's Quinn and she's 12 and she's talking to some like 19-year-old guy, like that's weird, and I need to know about that. Like, what is that about? Like, that doesn't really make sense. It doesn't add up. It doesn't sound like that's positive at all. So, with the internet, it's like kind of access to all kinds of different things. And if we go back to kind of our original topic of bad habits, I think the internet is a deep, dark ditch that you can end up going down, right?
Yes.
You can really, you have pornography. And if you're single, I mean, you're out there searching and hunting and, looking for whoever it is you're looking for.
Uh-huh.
And you're probably spending a lot of time doing that, which is understandable because, like, no one wants to be lonely. And sometimes people just get horny, right? So you're, like, looking for stuff and you're looking for things. And maybe you just spend too much time on it. And maybe, like, from what you're saying, I think is kind of great because if you eliminate, it's almost like eliminating something from your diet. You eliminate this bad habit. I talked about throwing out your couch the other day.
Yeah.
Because a guy said that he spends a lot of time on his couch and that he sits there and he consumes a lot of calories and watches TV. I'm like, throw away your fucking couch. Just get rid of it. And maybe even throw a hammer right through the center of your television, just so you don't do that anymore. And if you're thinking about, maybe like I do that too much. Maybe I check out porn too much and maybe I'm beating off too much. I mean, really, is that what you want to spend your time doing? And are you kind of hooked into it? Are you doing it a lot, and has it progressed into something? A quick question to ask yourself is like, is it affecting, like, has it ever affected your job? Like if it made you late somewhere, you gotta like run through these things.
Yeah.
Has it ever affected a relationship? I mean, these are things that alcoholics and drug addicts ask themselves, and the answer is yes. Then maybe you're spending a little too much time doing that.
Does it make you feel sad every time you finish?
Start crying.
I did it again. Hey, but real talk, that's one of those habits that I think that I stopped that helped me out a lot. Like a lot. But yeah. How about you guys? Any
I also just think, on the same, even though the topic is like uncomfortable, I think it's important for people to address and for people to talk about. Like, let's say that you masturbate like a few times a month. I don't know, 2 or 3 times a month. Sounds totally normal. Sounds fine. But then it's like, I don't know, like, what if you have a wife or what if you have a girlfriend? Or it's like, it's okay. I think it's okay to fantasize. I think everyone does. I think it's normal. Like, you're always going to fantasize about stuff that you can't have. You're going to fantasize about being wealthier than you are. You're going to fantasize about all kinds of weird shit. And you would like to think that you're perfect and that you're just like, no, I'm just focused on you, honey. Like, and that's just where it all ends. But no, you see a girl with a nice ass. You're like, that girl's got a nice ass. I mean, you don't not recognize it. You recognize it. You definitely see it. But then how you respond to it, how you react to it, those are different things. But if your mind is really drifting, I don't think it's healthy. It's not a healthy place to be. And there's a huge difference between masturbating a little bit here and there to some pornography versus having a fantasy about someone that you see on Instagram that you might actually see in person. You know, now we're starting to get in like a weird gray zone there. Like, I don't know about that one, you know?
Yeah.
And then, you know, not to like make everyone feel guilty or horrible, but like you can also just try to think, okay, well, what if the roles were reversed? What if this was my girlfriend or wife having these thoughts about, you know, the guy that she sees here and there at the post office, or I don't know, right? Like, or the guy that works out at her gym that's on Instagram, what, I don't know, whatever the scenario is in your life. And you'll probably be like, I'm not cool with that.
Uh-huh.
And then if you're not cool with it, you probably shouldn't be cool with yourself doing it either.
Hey, man, that's true. And I don't want anybody to think that, like, I'm some, like, anti-masturbation, whatever thing. When I don't think anything's wrong with that, but there definitely is. And there's a lot of research that's been done on it, a lot. There definitely is a problem when, especially men, that dopamine release, when you're constantly seeking that out via porn. Like, there is a legitimate issue there. But, like, even in high school, like when I talked, like when our friends, we would talk about it, everyone's like, oh, all the dudes as guys went, oh, there's ain't nothing wrong with that. Hey, we all watch porn. It's all good. And I was like, yeah, it is all good. It's cool. But like, there's a reason why that industry can make so much money off guys. Like the amount of money that they make is just crazy. And it's evolving, man. Like me and my buddy, I've had this conversation with you. We were having a conversation about like, ooh, kids got it tough now. Because not only do they have their phone, which some of their parents don't understand what they can do with their phone, but if they have those little VR headsets at home, that's an even deeper, that's a deeper, dark, like no pun intended, that is a deeper, darker hole that they are going to find themselves in. They're now going to be literally seeing titties in front of them on their little headsets.
I mean, if you just try to think about it like this, I understand everyone has like urges, but it's your mind wandering into places that you don't need it to be wandering there.
Yeah.
You really don't. Like, it's just, and this is something that's never talked about either. Like when people take testosterone, it's like, holy shit, like all those things are really elevated. And maybe that's why in the fitness industry, we see so many different people with so many different people every single year. You know, you see a guy and a girl, you know, guys with a different girl all the time. People break up, you know, in all industries.
Yeah,
you know, you see it everywhere. But I think you see it even more like in our industry because people are taking steroids, people's levels are elevated, and it makes you hornier. I mean, there's no other way around it. And so, like, just maybe your mind doesn't need to wander. I don't do that nearly as much as I used to. Like when I was, I think it was a few years ago, my wife was like, I don't know, we were just talking about like masturbation or something with a couple of friends. And I was like, yeah, I still do it almost every day. And she was like, what? She's like, where do you find the time? Or I'm like, I just sneak it in here and there, you know? Yeah, she was like so shocked. And she was like, huh? But, you know, I don't want to be like, I don't know, all lovey-dovey or whatever, but it makes things more special when I'm not doing that, you know? If I do it here and there, it's just like, I'm a dude and like I have urges here and there, and I might as well take care of what I need to take care of here and there. So, you know, everyone's going to be a little bit different with it, but I do think it is something that should be on people's radar because maybe it's slowing them down from doing the shit that they really want to do because they're occupied by doing this other shit all the time.
Yeah.
And then also the like the desensitization of everything, like especially you're just talking about kids and stuff. Like you think about it, it's like, okay, if my eyes can't tell the difference between cell phone light and sunlight, it's like, okay, if I'm watching porn, then like my brain probably thinks like, dude, I'm pounding chicks left and right. So when you see like an actual real naked woman or whatever you're you know into, your brain's like, oh, that's good. It's not as good as that freak the other night though.
Yeah,
and it's like, well, that didn't actually happen, but your brain probably doesn't even understand the difference, right?
Nah, dude, you're actually right. Apparently,
it's fucking scary.
We all know the tabs, right? All the tabs that are typically right. So like every time someone like switches from tab to tab, your brain thinks it's a new mate. Quite literally, your brain does think it's a new mate. It can't tell the difference between it being on a screen. So if you're so used to all of these different mates, that's why it can actually make it more difficult if you're into a monogamous relationship or you like monogamy. it can make that very difficult because you're not used to one person. You're used to all these different chicks that you've been having every different night.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of shit that goes into it. And that's why it's just like, I was too into it. So I had to go cold turkey. I had to get that shit out because I had a heart problem, but you just want to try and control it a little bit, you know?
Yeah. I was pretty lucky. Once we got the internet, this was probably senior year of high school.
Lucky man.
So yeah, it was a long time, but on top of that, the computer was like right in the middle of the living room. So nothing was happening, right? Like,
yeah.
But then I got my own computer and internet in my own room, which did take a long time. But yeah, once that happened, my computer had
viruses.
If you got close to it, you would catch a virus. Like it was pretty bad.
Trojan horses.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And nobody in the house thought anything of it.
Nah, man.
It's like Andrew needs it. He needs that computer. He's on there a lot.
Yeah.
Alt tab.
Yeah.
Y'all remember?
Nah, I didn't even fuck with that.
Y'all know Alt tab. Close that window real quick. Typing, doing my homework.
Doing your homework with a boner again, are you?
I love school.
I love school.
I love school. It feels so good when I do homework.
Oh man, this is a funny subject.
My God,
it's a good one.
Oh, and then also the women on there are extremely talented, so you don't want to, you don't want to be paying attention to that.
So much talent.
Oh,
so much.
I think we need to leave this show and get back on some porn.
Everything we're saying about not to do. Nope.
Oh God.
It's kind of hard to talk about other bad habits after talking about this one.
Nah, I think we can figure out some.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have I think a pretty good one.
Let's go.
Yeah?
Which was it was just I was telling Nsima before we started. Literally every.
Oh, by the way, we hit 9959
Oh, yeah.
on our
Fucking
shot
shit,
clock.
dude.
We are.
This
close.
doesn't make any sense. We're at
We have a weird shot clock.
It should be at like somewhere around 30 minutes on there because we're 40 minutes on the stream.
Yeah.
Oh God. Anyway. All right, so that's where we're at. We're around 40 minutes.
All right.
Talking to Nsima about like every male in my family drinks. They everybody. Some of them got a handle on it. Some may or may not. But on top of that, like everyone's in denial. You know, I watched my brother become an alcoholic, and he's better now. I don't know if he drinks still, but I watched my dad enable him, and just everyone just totally ignoring the fact that like, hey, this family has a drinking problem. It's like I never met my grandfather because I'm pretty sure he died from alcoholism. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah. But
I'm just like, so I'm looking at that, and I'm like, damn, like I'm drinking every night too. Like, okay, like I want to stop this chain of events, you know, like I want it to stop with me right here. And I'm the youngest in my family. I have younger cousins, but as far as like my immediate family, and when I stopped drinking, a lot of things change, right? And that's what happens with a lot of people's bad habits that they don't want to lose. I lost a lot of friends. I felt like I lost my identity. I felt like I lost my ability to have fun. And I'm looking at all these things. I'm like, oh, there's no way I can stop because like I'm going to lose X, Y, and Z. But now that I have completely stopped, like I did lose my friends. I did lose that ability to have fun. You know, I lost a lot of things, but I gained way more. And, you know, just like what you were just talking about with like porn and stuff, it's like, yeah, you lost like that awesome afternoon fun or whatever it was, right? But how much better is your relationships now? Like you gained way more that way. And then of course, you know, we're in the fitness like space and stuff. So how, like, obviously shred again is not happening if I'm drinking, but it's like, how are we going to, you know, improve ourselves, our physique or our strength if we're just, you know, drinking every night? So that's probably the biggest habit that I cut, you know, because it's like it's on a bigger scale, right? It's like, it's my whole like family thing. And then it's of course on a personal level, like, you know, I went to a dark place when I drank. I drank every single night. Yeah. And I stopped that. Now everything's so much better. I'm with somebody that doesn't drink either. Like that's also huge. So this, I know it's a big habit, but it's one habit that completely changed my life.
I agree though. Like that, a lot of people have that habit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I think that that's something that gets in the way of a lot of progress. I mean, I think it's important to understand that that's something that anybody can develop because, you know, I mentioned that here once. It was sometime last year. I don't know. I was just like, I was craving a beer a night because I was drinking beer a little bit more, like trying different beers. So every night, you know, I want to get done with jiu-jitsu or get done with something, I'd be like, I want to go grab a beer. Like, I really want one. And then after about a 2-week period, I'm like, wait up, out of 14 days, I've had a beer maybe 10 or 11 of those nights. This is turning into something. Like, that can happen to anybody.
Yeah.
You know? So I think that's important to understand. And I cut that real quick. Like, I still drink every now and then, but it's not something that's going to be even close to every single day. But it can happen to anybody, and it can slow a lot of stuff down.
Yeah, and like the like I was telling you, like the pull towards like the beer, like it's I don't even want to say it's there, but like I saw you drinking a Blue Moon the other night at Mark's house.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, damn, that looks, because Blue Moon was my shit. Like, oh, it was so good. But like it wasn't quite the pull as it would be if you guys were eating pizza, which eventually the Quest Pizza did come out, and I fucking annihilated that. But it still is kind of there, but like it's not even an issue anymore. You know, like like the last beer I had was at the Arnold, you know, and then before that, couldn't tell you, but it is still there. But it's just something, I don't know, just like everything, it takes a little bit of time. You keep winning every day, and then it's like, oh, this is actually like I stack the chips so far against you, you cannot beat me.
Yeah.
So
you kind of kill it off in a way, because you're like, the reward of not doing that is so much greater than doing it. Alcohol is weird, and coffee, I guess, in a sense that like the payoff is there. You know, like you feel it. Like alcohol's a party, man. Alcohol makes you feel great.
Yes.
And like, let's say, for instance, Nsima, you know, let's say he had a birthday party or something. Well, I know, like, if I'm going to hang out with Nsima at his birthday party, I'm going to be hanging out with people that I don't know, because I don't know all of Nsima's friends. I know a few of them from here, but I don't. So the quickest way to be like social is like, I'll have a couple beers. And what are the beers going to do? They're going to make me feel great, or any sort of alcohol, right?
Yeah. Gives you confidence. You start talking to people.
And then people are like, dude, your friend's dope. Like, he came over here, he talked to me for half an hour. And it's like, no one ever points out, like, oh, fuck, he was probably drunk as hell, right? Or high, you know, what, depending on like what people decide to do. But, you know, trying to be like sober going into those situations is really hard. It's hard for like there's like a little period of time that it's difficult. And then it's fine. Like, once you have to drive home, now you're back in favor of your decision that you didn't drink. Before you go to bed, you're like, I'm kind of glad I didn't drink tonight, because tomorrow's going to be great. I'm going to wake up. I'm going to be fired up. I said I was going to work out at 8 a.m. I'll be there with no problem. Now, if you drank and you're driving, that's not great, right? And then when you lay down to bed at, 11, 12 o'clock, you're kind of like, oh man, like I told everybody I was going to be at the gym at 7 tomorrow, and it's going to be that much harder to go through with it. But trying to, once you pull something away, if you can figure out a way to gain momentum towards that and do it multiple times, then you start to really kill off that, whatever that drive is. I don't know if it's like, maybe it's like dopamine, and maybe it's, but maybe it's connected to that like one thing. And I do hear people say, you might want to try to replace a habit with a different habit. Maybe you, maybe you replace your beer with some kratom. Maybe you, or maybe you replace your alcohol with a decaffeinated coffee or like a tea. I realize it's different, but like at least there's something there for you to like sip on or do. Sparkling water. Like when I go out and, I go out with my wife and friends and stuff, they get drinks, and, there I am being a schmuck having my sparkling water. But like once the first round comes around and everybody else drank, if you can think of it this way, you're now in the same category as if you drank, because everyone's drunk except for you, but you can go ahead and act whatever way you want now.
Yeah, you actually have an advantage because you're
So just think about like I don't really have like a lot of anxiety, but I might have a little social anxiety, and I might, like, if I was drinking, I would let my guard down and I would be more talkative. But think of it this way, like if everybody else already had a drink, they're not going to think anything you say is weird. So go ahead and act as weird as you fucking want.
Yeah, that's actually really good.
Go for it. Go have some verbal diarrhea. Go for it.
Yeah. Imagine you are in a group setting where you're kind of nervous, and then you're like, man, if everybody just got drugged really quick, You know, like if you literally
Yeah.
like drugged them, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
and it's like, oh, just wait for a couple drinks and that's what's gonna happen.
Everything's funnier to them. You
Everything's
became-
funnier to you too because
Yeah.
you're just like taking all this in.
yeah.
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 As long as you're not with like
You're-
annoying people,
You're better looking to them and everything.
Oh,
Everything
yeah,
everything's
yeah,
now
yeah.
in your favor.
You can pull out information that they wouldn't submit any other time, you know?
You can
Yeah,
pull
they-
out bullshit and they'll believe you.
Yeah. Like you heard Donald Trump lost 20 pounds. He's getting jacked. They'd be like, really?
Yeah, he's on carnivore diet.
Yeah, it's weird, man. He's changed everything.
Yeah, it's
He's
weird.
not building the wall anymore either.
I'm like, okay, now we
yeah,
know you're fucking around.
yeah, they would have to be really drunk for that one.
Yeah. But
Oh,
that's
man.
actually a really good way to put it. I never thought of that because yeah, I do go into social situations where I'm like, well, okay, I will pop some mind bullet, and that does wonders for me.
Yeah.
But putting it that way is really, I think you just literally helped fucking thousands of people, dude, because that's huge.
I don't know whatever gave me this mindset, but like when I was young and, I'd go to like a party and people would drink, that was kind of the mindset that I had adopted was like, well, everybody else will have a drink and they'll be floating around a little bit in their head and they'll be happy. And, I can just almost pretend that I'm drunk, even though everyone knows I don't drink. So I've been utilizing that for a long time, but I also have kind of always, and I know that people get pissed when you like look down on people, but I just kind of do. I do. I look when I was a kid and I would go to parties and stuff and the cool kids would be smoking weed. I'd be like, those guys are a bunch of fucking losers, man. Like I'm never going to be like that. Like, I don't give a fuck. I'm not, whatever that is, whatever they think they're doing that they think is cool with their eyes all fucking bloodshot. I'm like, I'm not doing that. Those guys are worthless. And for me, like it was just me adopting kind of like a principle so that it made me abstain from that. And maybe like your principles don't have to be as harsh. Maybe you don't need to look down on anybody, but that's what I did. And then as I, wanted to get in shape and lean out and stuff, like if I go to a restaurant and I see, somebody who's heavy eating a bunch of bread, I'm just like, that fucking fat bastard's trapped in that rut. Like he can't get out of his own way. And I'm not trying to be mean or rude to anyone, but it helps me to almost look down on them a little bit and be like, I'm not getting caught up in that shit.
Mm-hmm.
People have a really hard time with, like, when would you ever admit that someone is just better than you? Like, I don't think your average person is like willing to do that. People that perform on a high level, they're willing to do it. Like if I was doing jujitsu and I'm a brown belt and you're a black belt and we roll and you beat me, I'm like, you're better than me. But in society, I can't say that. In society, I'm not man enough to be like, you know what, dude, you live your life a lot better than I do. You show up to work on time. You're prepared for everything. You're in better shape than me because you lift harder. Like people don't want to face any of that in their day to day. And I think this is what drives people to fall into these bad habits in the first place, because they're not strong enough to really ride something out for a long enough period of time to where it turns into anything. And so instead they're like, fuck it, I'll just have a drink because what's the difference?
Yeah. No, I totally agree with what you're saying. And I get what you're saying there. The thing is like when you say that, you're not necessarily saying that person or you're a better human being or whatever. You're not like, I am a better human being than you. You are trash. Haha. That's not what you're doing. Or when you're saying somebody else is better than you, you're not saying, well, they're just so much of a better human than I am. You still have compassion for the individual, right. But you can see something in somebody. Like when Bedros is here and I'm listening, or a lot of our guests are here and I'm listening, I'm just like, you're so much better than me at this, and this. Like literally, you are better than me at that. And this is what I want to take from you so I can try and get to that. I'm not like, and that's me looking to somebody, you know what I mean? And you can see that in so much, but I get what you're saying. And like, you kind of sound like an asshole, but it's like, you're not even trying to be an asshole. You can see when the habits of certain individuals are messing them up and you abstain from that. And because you abstain from those bad habits, you're not in the ditch that they're in. And in this instance, that makes you better. We don't even need to say better than them. Yeah, in this situation, it does make you better than them, but it makes you a better person.
Yeah.
you know? So it's the truth. It's tough to say because people will take offense to it. But if instead, like you said, people look intrinsically and try to be better, and instead of, you know, just letting everything slide by, they try to figure out how to be better, they'll adopt that outlook and that mindset.
And a better person, like as a whole too. Like you know, if somebody is being better, you know, they're also, I'm also talking about, you know, encompassing, you know, some moral values and some moral code. That's where things can get a little bit weird, because there's like religion and there's like weird things with, you know, different things within all that. But like Bedros is a great example. Bedros is not somebody you would want to follow his blueprint from when he was young, because he was like, so again, like somebody who simply doesn't rob a house would be a better person than him, in my opinion, because like there's not a lot of things that are worse than stealing. You know, steal and then going into someone's home, like home robbery, that's wild. You know, being a kid and like, I don't know, seeing something shiny on in someone's car, you pop the door open and snag it. Like I would never do that. I wasn't raised that way. It's not like in my, I'd actually be really scared. I'd be like really nervous. Like someone's going to find out.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to get in a lot of trouble. Like I'm the guy that like finds the wallet on the ground, you know, in the bar and sees that there's like $500 in there and just returns it. Like I don't, you know, I just try to look for like an ID. Like I'm not a good, you know, I'm not the best person by any means. I don't always make the right choice, but in those cases, I would never really do anything like that. But again, like if you're looking at some of these scenarios and we're talking about like bad habits, and it's like, if you have a ton of bad habits, you know, that are really in the way of you doing anything, then what value? Or you're probably not able to provide a lot of value. Let's talk about someone that we know that provides a lot of value, that executed on a really high level. The owner of Quest Nutrition, former owner of Quest Nutrition and co-founder Ron Penna. We talk about him all the time. That guy executes on a really high level. That guy, I don't know his business. I don't know like his life. I don't know his relationship with his wife. Seems like an amazing dude. Seems to have moral values, right? That seems to be in place. I can't really speak on what he does and doesn't do, but that looks to be in order. And then his fitness is in order. His eating is in order. His from a business standpoint, he's set. You know, he's somebody that we all look up to. We're like, whoa, that guy's ahead. You know, that guy. And in a lot of cases, somebody like a Ron Penna is going to be better than most people, because most people can't provide that much value. How many jobs has that guy? How many happy, wonderful Christmases have people had because they know Ron Penna? You know, like our buddy, now I'm losing his name. Who sends us all this free shit? Bruce Cardenas, our buddy Bruce. You know, like how many great Christmases has he had just because he's friends with Ron? He works very hard for Quest Nutrition as well. But there's a lot of people that work for that company that are benefiting greatly from rubbing elbows with somebody who is executing on a high level. And what did Ron do? Like Ron at some point started to eliminate one habit probably after another, eliminate bad habit. So again, what Andrew's talking about, abstaining away from alcohol, is not easy. But if you were to look at it on that level, maybe it'd be a little easier for you, because you're like, man, I definitely don't need the alcohol. I think people sometimes think they need it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I absolutely thought I needed it.
You don't need it. You don't really need porn. You don't need half the shit. That's why it's a good idea just to try to do a detox of stuff. Try a couple days. Try to go 5 days without looking up any porn. Like, just see if you can do it. Maybe you can't do it. And then maybe you're like, oh, shit, man, I don't know. Like, that's not great.
Yeah.
Just try it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean,
you won't do it, Andrew.
Yeah, it'd be pretty easy.
Man.
I mean, what?
There was a whole Seinfeld episode on that. And it was like, all the guys, I know, all the guys bet.
I need to watch this.
All the guys had a bet going. And it was like Kramer and George and Jerry and like somebody else got involved too. And they're all like, I mean, I don't know, like just a few minutes go by in the show and Elaine walks in, she goes, I'm out. And he goes, what? Like he's like, you weren't even part of the bet. I don't think like you weren't even, He's like, what? He's like, wait, what? He's like, women do that too. he's all confused.
Well, yeah, and then because Kramer, he just again same thing. Like within like minutes of placing the bet, he just sprints in like he always does, and just throws his money down on the table. Like, what happened? And then they just, I think, like the neighbors or something. Like there was like you could see them
on their
and,
screen.
yeah, and it just yeah.
And Elaine had like some hot guy came to the gym and he got all sweaty next to her, like on the elliptical or something like that. And she comes flying in. She's like, I'm out. And she puts her money on the table.
Oh, man.
Yeah, because they were betting who could not masturbate the longest.
Yeah.
And so anyway, well, I guess we weren't original in today's topic, but
Yeah, I need to watch that. That's pretty cool.
Seinfeld's good, man.
Yeah.
I
never got
enjoyed
into it. I was too young, I guess. But
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
old.
I think so,
Show's
yeah.
old.
it is.
Yeah.
Show's really old.
That and I barely started, well, not started, but it's been on, is Friends because Jasmine watches it.
I loved Friends.
Friends is good.
I never watched Friends ever.
Mm-hmm.
And then she started watching it, and like I saw a couple episodes where I'm like, you probably shouldn't be watching this.
You don't really get stuff like that anymore. Like those shows got you really into the individual, I guess you get it sometimes, like, but there's not like as many sitcoms that are like that anymore, right?
No more sitcoms.
I don't know if people just like don't watch like TV like that anymore either.
No,
Like, they're watching like
yeah.
streaming
It's
stuff.
all Netflix and Hulu and stuff.
Did either of you guys watch Golden Girls?
I have, yeah.
Because I've seen every episode of Golden Girls in freshman.
Really?
I've seen every. The reason why is because, like, obviously, I grew up in a
I don't
house
know
full
why,
of.
but I've seen a lot of Golden
Yeah,
Girls.
right?
I'm kind of embarrassed about
My
it.
mom and sister watched a lot of Lifetime television
Should I
for
be
women.
embarrassed?
Lifetime.
Yeah,
I should be embarrassed.
it was a great show.
Yeah.
I even this is sort of embarrassing, but
You
those little-
masturbated to Golden Girls.
No,
Oh.
shut your dirty
Sorry,
mouth.
I thought that's where it was going. My bad.
Nah, I have the I used to like buy these little pop figurines, right? And I have
okay.
Blanche, Sophia, Dorothy, and Rose. I have all four.
That's pretty
Golden
cool.
Girls.
I think that's dope.
Yeah, I think it's dope too. But yeah. Any other habits?
To
Yeah,
drop?
for me, eating in the middle of the night was a big one.
Ooh.
Yeah, when I was a big fatty. But that perpetuates itself too, as we were talking about. Like if you're going to be checking out porn and you're going to be beating off, like you're going to want to do it more.
Want to eat after too.
Yeah. Yeah. If you let your guard down and you're like, yeah, I'll have some drinks. And I guess maybe something to think about is you don't need to be like a therapist, but I do think at some point you might need to be your own therapist in this world. Think about like, why are you doing something? Because like if you're having a drink and you're like, or you're eating, let's just say you eat because you're like, I am just so stressed, and you just start stuffing your face. You're like, you have to admit to yourself that doesn't actually make any sense and it doesn't help anything. And also, if you're fat, it's going to make things worse because then you're going to feel really bad about it. You're going to be like, man, like I'm not supposed to be doing that. I hired a trainer. I just started at the gym. Like, and then you're like, I got to start all over. Well, it's Friday, so I'll wait till Monday, right?
Yeah.
And Monday's a holiday, and we know the story. We went over that a bunch of times, right? And you never really get back on track. So I think, for myself with this habit of eating in the middle of the night, it'll still happen once in a while where I'll wake up and I'll be like, oh, I'm hungry. And I won't really, it's not like I'm sleepwalking, but I barely know what I'm doing. But now I'm conditioned to do something else. I'm conditioned to do something different. And we're going to talk about that in an upcoming podcast as well, where, you set things up, you set up your environment differently. And so just like little things, like I got Slingshot protein like on our counter. I don't need it on the counter because I'm, drinking it all day, but it's just there. So if I wake up like a fucking bear possessed and I'm going to go dive into our pantry and just eat all the food in there, the first thing I see is a Slingshot protein. I'm like, make a shake, make a shake, make a shake, make a shake. I got to keep telling myself, just make a protein shake. So I'll mix up a protein shake with just some cold water, shake it up, drink some of it. I drink probably half of it and I go back to bed.
Yeah.
It's just like my brain was like, dude, like, remember when you used to wake up and eat something sweet?
Mm-hmm.
You should have something sweet. And so I'll do that. And then plus, we talk so much about sleep on this podcast. I'm like, just go back to bed. Just go back to bed. Just go back to bed. And so most of the time I just go back to bed because I'm like, if I wake up any further and go out into the kitchen and like turn a light on, then I'm up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I need to go back to sleep. So that was a habit for me that took a long time. And it still will like rear its ugly head. I'll wake up and, there'll be like a Quest wrapper in the, on the floor or something in the morning. And I'm like, what the hell happened here last night?
Yeah. Dude, okay, I don't know when we're going to finish this episode, but before we finish, like what you just mentioned there, like that's like one of the golden rules of habit change or changing a bad habit is you want to replace that with something else. So like it's not that you stopped getting up in the middle of the night, because you still do, but instead of reaching for something sweet, you've conditioned yourself so much to grab that protein shake and have it instead that you probably obviously get up a little bit less than you used to. But now instead of having something sweet that's probably going to mess you up, that's full of a lot of sugar,
Right.
you're not having a protein shake. Like I think that's another thing that I keep in my head, because even though I don't, I guess, watch porn anymore, that urge is still there almost as much as it used to be. But my legit thing to do now is get up and walk away. Like from in front of my computer or something, I'll get up, I'll walk, and I'll literally go take a walk, because I know that it just takes one thing for me to get back in. So I think it's something that's important for people to realize with whatever habit you're trying to stop. It never goes away a lot of the time. You want to replace it with something else. And if you can replace it with something else, that'll make things so much easier.
Oh, my food cravings and stuff are still there.
Mm-hmm.
But when I eat a little bit of meat or eat some eggs or something, then it's like, eating this is better.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look better tomorrow. I'm gonna perform better tomorrow. Like that's cool. That's my goal.
Mm-hmm.
And I can think about that. I can think about, the way Tyler Bray, the way that he shared with us. He said, the pizza doesn't taste better than the Olympia stage. And I really like that quote a lot. And not everyone has an Olympia stage, but everyone does have a goal. Like if you just even made any attempt to eat better ever in your life, you still have a goal. You want to lose a couple pounds. You want to feel better in a tighter shirt. You want to be able to take your shirt off at the beach or whatever your goal. Everyone has a goal. And that goal can be, the thing that tastes the best to you, maintaining a certain standard for yourself, having a higher standard for yourself and getting towards that goal, should matter enough to you where you can figure out a way to have enough good habits to get you in that direction.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait to say that, fries don't taste as good as abs or feel, I feel like I'm on my way.
Wait until I feel like this is going to be so contrary to everything we just talked about, but wait until you have those abs, which you will very soon, right? And you have a little bit more control where like you eat those fries and you don't feel bad about it because you barely ever eat those fries, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's going to happen.
Yeah.
You'll have your six pack, you look at it and be like, you'll eat that fry like, ooh, I can do this.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll still have your six pack the next day, but you won't eat the fries the next day.
Yeah, because like what you're saying, like the fat distribution, right? Like it will change.
Yeah, that'll change.
I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Hopefully it goes all to my ass.
Wait, what?
What?
You got some butt.
Thanks.
You do.
I don't know.
You do your squats, you do your deadlifts, you do your everything. You
Want me
got
to
some
squeeze it?
You've squeezed it quite often
That's
lately,
true.
actually. So I think,
Sorry
the
about that.
booty gains are.
Hope
coming
HR
in.
isn't listening because that is a violation, Mark.
Sorry about that. Didn't mean to do that.
You know, one interesting thing, we'll probably talk about this later, but I think it's the addiction to like sugar. I think in the longest time ago, I was definitely in denial of how much I loved sugar in the past.
Mm-hmm.
I was definitely in denial because since I was flexible, I could make it fit. I was like, since I can make it fit, I can have it. And it's only because I can make it fit that I'm having it. It's not that I really have a problem yet. I did.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't have a problem. You have a problem.
I can make this fit my macros.
Yeah, I kind of did the same thing the other night, like because now that I haven't tracked in a while, but I've been eating almost like one meal a day, so I think I'm good. But when I was like really like stringent tracking everything, I was like, oh, dude, I got so much more room. Like, oh, I'm definitely eating something, even though I wasn't even hungry.
Yeah,
like I didn't care, but I'm like, oh, I can get it in. Like this is gonna be awesome. And I'm like, huh. This could go down a really dangerous road.
Dude, yeah, no, that's a conversation for another day. But,
yeah.
But it's,
I think, on the topic of habits, another thing that I've changed is just my mindset. I just literally have changed the habit of having bad habits. I've changed the habit of you know, sitting too long. I've changed the habit of like not moving. I've changed the habit of not drinking enough water. I changed the habit of not getting enough sleep. I changed the habit of maybe not exercising enough. I changed from top to bottom. I've been working on changing fucking everything. One of my favorite habits is to work on the next day before the day is finished. That's something that I actually look forward to. Like when I go home from here, I'm going to try to jumpstart tomorrow because tomorrow I'm lifting at 5 a.m. So as soon as I get home from here, there's like a little bit of like dead space, and that dead space, boom, I go right in the shower and I lay out my clothes for the next day. I try to get clothes together for the workout. I try to get clothes together for podcasting because I don't want to be in the same clothes all day. And I try to get myself like arranged enough so that I can handle the next day. And now it's getting cold out, so it takes more time because I gotta like find like pants that fit and a jacket and different things like that. But man, I love that. I love being able to feel like oh shit, like all these things are gonna like happen tomorrow, and I'm gonna be prepared for them. Like it feels really good going into that stuff, and almost think about like it almost feels like you're. And I'm not always well rested, but it almost feels like you're well rested for everything all the time when you're prepared for stuff. Like maybe people don't understand well rested that good because maybe they're not well rested. But just think about when you're really sleep deprived, like a night where you slept for like 15 minutes, and then you have like a test to take at school. You got like 7 or 8 things that you need to go to, and your buddy wants you to go to like a concert at like 10 o'clock at night or something. I mean, it's just one of those things where you just feel terrible the next day. You feel so bad. I don't ever feel like that anymore. Like I feel ready for fucking everything because I feel like I kind of physically, mentally, emotionally get myself ready for the next day, and maybe even further than that, maybe even like the next week. I try to prepare myself. I try to, there's a saying that says, don't start your day until it's finished, meaning like you kind of know what your day looks like. You should just write it out right now. Like, what's your day look like tomorrow? Like, just fucking write it down right now. And then like whatever you need that goes along with that, write that shit down too. Like if you need to, let's say you're meeting your girlfriend for lunch and you're supposed to like bring something to her or whatever, like just, write that down, put it in your car now, like go to your car now and put that shit in there. Just things like that. Try to be as on point and as ahead as you possibly can be.
Yeah. No, that's huge. How long, let me ask you this, because like you've been performing, I guess, at a high level for a lot of years. Like you're 40 something right now, right? And
42.
And you've had this business for how long?
Slingshot for 9 years. Yep.
Slingshot for 9 years. So how long do you think, because you obviously, you were doing well then too. How long do you think you've been like focusing on stuff like this? Has this just been something that you've been working on, or you've been working on it more lately? Like what's the deal?
In the beginning, it mattered a lot less because I didn't matter to as many people. And, now that I'm a figure in more people's lives, then now I need to, have more energy, for everybody basically. And because of that, I need to constantly work on personal development and constantly work on like, the things that I sit around and think about are very, I would say, they're unconventional because not that I'm not thinking of myself or not thinking of my business, because I certainly do. And I certainly think of my children and my wife and things like that too. But I would say the majority of my time is spent on thinking about the people here. That's what I'm thinking about most of the day. I might think like, I wonder how Andrew's doing. Like I texted him something today, like, I wonder how this person's doing, that person. And then I'm trying to think of like, oh, so-and-so's birthday's coming up. Like, I'm not trying to say that I'm some perfect human being. These are newer things that have happened for me because of like financial freedoms and different things like that. So my mind is able to wander towards these things. But in the beginning, it mattered a lot less. My mind was focused on powerlifting. my mind was, it just had that singular focus. I was so obsessed with trying to be the best, and I didn't have room for anything else. You know, I'd squat 1 week, I'd squat 1,035, and I might go to unrack the weight, and I might, you know, shake and be all over the place and look like I'm going to die. And then I know the next week is 1,055. It's like, man, I don't know, like, what are you doing? Because the meet is in a month, and that last workout sucked. And so, like, I would do all kinds of weird stuff in the workouts. Like, I remember one workout where I took everything off. Like, I had, you know, you wear squat briefs, you wear a squat suit, you wear all this stuff, and I squatted 700, 800, 900, 1,000, 1,035, and it was a shitty lift, and it was all over the place. And then my teammates wanted me to do it again. I was like, no, dude, I'm done. Took everything off, took all the weight off, and I sat there, and I felt better, and I was like, I'm going to do it again. Put everything back on, lace the shoes up, get ready to go, and then boom, nailed the weight the right way, and then did better the next week. But I didn't have time to like think about anything else. It's all, my mind was so occupied on lifting and being the best I could be in lifting that I didn't have time to think about myself. I didn't have time to think about my wife. I didn't have time to think about my kids. It was just me, you know, nonstop around the clock. And I think that's why I'm in the position I'm in now, though, because I think I like woke up and was like, dude, like, this is not a good route to go. This is not going to make you happy the way that you think it's going to make you happy. Because I was so obsessed with these singular goals, and I was so obsessed with trying to make myself better. It really opened my eyes. And I also became more aware of the fact that, like, my idol is not like Bo Jackson. My idol is not Mike Tyson or Michael Jordan. These people I idolized when I was a kid. My idol's my dad. And then I'm like, why is my dad my idol? And it's like, well, my dad's my idol because he put so much time in other people. And I'm like, your ass needs to do that, you know? Like, you need to, there's a lot of people that are around you that are good to you, and you don't even recognize it at all. I'm like, and I wasn't a horrible person. Like, it wasn't like, you know, wasn't like anybody was like, he's an asshole. Although some people might, Juan will tell you guys, you know, Juan will tell you I was different for sure. I was just wired differently. And so I just kind of woke up, and I worked on some personal development type stuff. I worked on trying to figure out ways to become better in all aspects, and that gives me more time. I cut back on a lot of bad habits. I used to not sleep. I used to not sleep very well. My diet was out of hand. I actually think, like, you know, people really undersell the value of good nutrition, but I think that may have been one of the singular things that was holding me back. Not that, like, I would have been stronger had I, like, not eaten carbs or something like that, but I think that I don't think it's coincidental. I don't think that the two things came along the way that they did separately. I don't think the war on carbs and my mindset nowadays are unrelated. I think I've seen improvements in your mindset since your nutrition's better. I've seen improvements in Andrew that have been, like, they're mind blowing. Like, Andrew, a year and a half, 2 years ago, there's no possible way he would have said anything at that Meathead Millionaire Summit. Yeah. And if he did, he would have been like, never mind.
That's 100% accurate.
That's probably what he would have been like,
bad.
Shivering, and he would have fell over and passed out. And we would have been like, I think he had something to say, but, like, he creamed his pants, and I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I literally would have passed out, and you guys would have been like, oh, he shit himself. Like, oh my gosh, he.
But when he did say something, he had something specific to say, and he said it. And I'm sure you were nervous, but you didn't sound nervous. You sounded,
thank goodness,
sounded good.
I was pretty nervous, yeah.
But I think that the food part of it, you know, people might think it's a little crazy, but I think it's huge, man. I think that, you know, I think a lot of the improvements that we have made are because of cutting. Even Andrew, who might be eating a little bit more carbs, is still not eating sugar. Yeah. You know, and we've all cut way back on that, and I think it's helping our mental health, it's helping our mindset, and it's helping us, you know, put our best foot forward every single day.
Man, I can't wait for the first off. There was so much there. I was like, when you were like, when you said that, you think that you needed that, or that portion of your life where you're focused on yourself. I thought that you were about to take that to, you needed that to be like, I guess you did need that to be who you are now, but I thought that you were going to frame that being like, this was not something that I needed to do, because people would be like, oh, I need to focus on myself. I need to be blah, 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 right? But you shifted that and said you needed to know, I guess, how that experience felt. And you needed to understand how negative that was to see, or to get to this positive place to where you are now, you know? So I'm glad that that distinction was made. But also, I can't wait for the internet to see your picture whenever you choose to post that shit, because you're looking like, you're looking hot, man.
It's the thumbnail cover on a video I just posted on my IGTV.
Okay.
So it's there.
Everybody, Andrew, who 2 weeks ago said he wasn't gonna get abs, now has some damn abs, and he has lines on his capped shoulders. He's looking good. You're looking good.
Thanks.
He's getting there.
Getting there, yeah.
He's heading in the right direction.
Yeah.
Anyway, we talked a lot. We're going to move on to another podcast here in just a second, but to kind of tie everything all together, you know, there's probably some habits. There's probably some habits that you have that you might not even be aware of. You know, but again, just like if you have something, if you have a habit that you probably are aware of it. You probably are aware, like, what is it? There's probably something in your way of getting abs. There's probably, with Andrew, it was like he already had good nutrition. He already had good training. It was just like we needed to put a time frame to it. And so maybe you don't even have a bad habit, but maybe you just need to make things more of an emergency in some way. And that'll help you ditch any, like, maybe they're not terrible habits. Maybe they're not even necessarily bad, but maybe they're like little white lies. They're crinkled into your nutrition, right?
Yeah, that's absolutely, absolutely. Yeah.
Like, I'll have that. Fuck it, right? Like, there's some of that sprinkled into probably everybody's life, but when you put a time frame on it, it changes everything quite a bit. You know, just if there's something that you think you're doing too much, maybe you like ice cream, you're having ice cream every night, maybe you're having a drink every night. Try 5 days without it. Try 6 days. Try a week, especially with alcohol. I mean, like, if you're a different person when you don't have alcohol, I'm just going to tell you that you're an alcoholic. If you're a different person and you feel like you can't not have it, and that you're in a crap mood when you don't have it, you need to re-examine that. I'm not trying to tell you need to feel horrible about it, but I'm just trying to tell you that I think it'd be great if you made some changes. It'd be great if you looked into that a little further and went without a little bit. Now, you can say the same thing about coffee too, right? Because, like, somebody doesn't have coffee and they feel grumpy and they have a headache and stuff. But those things will subside, and the reward will be a lot stronger than you think.
Yeah, or just like whatever the habit is, like, substitute it with something a little bit better. You like donuts? Have a Quest donut bar. Yeah, and if only there was a way to get it cheaper, right?
How could you get these? Oh, well, or what about a Quest Hero bar?
I'm going to take more home, actually.
You're going to what?
I'm going to take more home today.
Oh, no.
Yes.
We might have problems. Well, actually, no, we don't have problems.
We got tons, baby.
Yeah, we got plenty. But anyway, yeah, slight pitch, but I'm being real. Like, if you do have a sweet tooth, have a Hero bar. You won't know that you're gonna enjoy it. You're gonna feel good, and it's not bad for you.
Yeah.
And then, because you're a listener of this podcast, you can get it cheaper than everybody else. Head over to questnutrition.com, enter promo code MarksQuest at checkout for 20% off your amazing Hero bars. Highly recommend it.
This kind of stuff is really amazing, because what you'll fill your life up with will be so much better than what was in your life in the past.
Yeah.
So, like, now when you cheat, you're gonna be like, I'm gonna have a Quest bar. You're gonna sound like an asshole, like us. You know, you're gonna be like, I'm gonna have salted caramel collagen from Perfect Keto. And
that's actually true.
Yeah, and people are gonna look at you like you're if we say it amongst ourselves, we're like, oh yeah, I totally get it. But, like, try saying that, like, in front of some family members or something, and be like, what?
Yeah.
Like, get out of here. I mean, we're still going to eat pizza, and we're still going to eat some stuff here and there, but it's probably going to be a Quest pizza. You know, we're probably, you know, I had a cheeseburger with the bun yesterday. I had another one today. I have kind of taken about 4 or 5 days off of just dieting, because I got down to 227, and I was like, I'm going to look like a weenie in any minute now. So I need to bring in some calories.
Dang.
So I just went, and then so Nsima the other day is like, "What's going on with your veins?"
Oh, that's
I was like, "I ate a bunch. I was like, I ate a bunch of food and ate a bunch of carbs." Well, they were blowing up. I think at Kuyu.
Yeah,
right?
your veins were like really
Popping.
large.
They were looking angry at you.
They were. Yeah.
But you know, even with that, it's like I'm trying to eat bad, and I went to Burger Ream in Davis, and they have a keto burger and they have a regular burger, and I did a taste test. So I had the regular burger with the regular bun, and I had the keto burger with the keto bun, and we should all go because it was awesome.
Could you not taste it? Was there like what was the difference?
There's a difference, yeah. Like so, a regular bun, you know, squishes down and compacts down, especially on like an 80-20 burger, really, really well because there's like a lot of grease and there's the cheese, right?
Yes.
And it squishes down into like this soft. It's kind of almost pornographic, right? How good it looks and how the just how it all works is amazing. Like the bread absorbs it, and then the bread is super thin, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the keto bun doesn't do that because it's like a bun on steroids, right? And it's like more fibery, so it stays up a little higher. It's a little thicker. There's like a little bit more of a layer to like bite into, but it's still fucking awesome. Your hands don't get all, you know, gross and full of meat and cheese and stuff. And I mean, I think I could have maybe pulled some of the middle part out of the unbun or whatever, but I just wanted to see how the flavor was without messing with it at all. And I didn't have anything on there. I just had cheese. It was just a cheeseburger. There was I kind of did it on purpose because I wanted to see like what it really tasted like.
You don't want to mask the flavor.
Yeah,
right?
no ketchup, nothing. It's just a cheeseburger, and it was fucking awesome.
That's great.
It was obviously the one with the regular bread was better, but not by much. And the main difference was just salt. Like I didn't want to alter either one of them, but if I just put a little extra salt on the one with the on bun, I think it would have been just as good. I think it only has like 5 grams of carbs or something like that. It's pretty fibrous.
Damn.
What if In-N-Out did that? What if In-N-Out and Five Guys and Wendy's just did that?
I mean, yeah.
In-N-Out, you listening?
They should be. I mean, they talk to me all the time when I order stuff. But
call them up.
Yeah, that's cool. If I get a day or a meal where I can allow a little bit of extra calories in, if you guys give that to me, I'll take Stephanie there because she has a legit gluten intolerance, and that would be cool to like, hey, you get to enjoy everything I'm gonna eat too, you know? Because I mean, she likes lettuce wraps, but you know, still like, you know, you smell the bread and the bun and you want that, and it's
lettuce
really
wraps just don't really work that good though, you know. Unfortunately, they always like fall apart.
They fall apart, and then like the bun itself, like it kind of absorbs some of like the juices and stuff.
Yeah,
and
like the burger
it
needs
becomes
to be,
its own thing.
Yeah, like a burger needs to be put on like a Foreman grill and like let all that stuff grease out of it and then put it on the lettuce wrap. Then it might work better, but
no, because
we need all those juices.
I love the juice.
Speaking of a Foreman grill, so we took some Piedmontese patties to Stephanie's parents' house.
I thought you were going to say to George Foreman.
Wait, so took them to the in-laws, and you know we're kind of in a rush, so we just put them on the Foreman grill. Now they tasted fine. They were good,
and
it's good meat.
Did you receive an invite to any of this?
No.
Well, like I said, you know, it was at their house. I couldn't invite other, like, you know, it wasn't my place to invite.
Aren't we family?
I mean, we are, but
was that the day maybe our phones were broken? That no,
it was really windy.
But also, I just don't think Andrew thinks we're family.
It was windy that day, and I think my cell phone signal was not working. I'll have to double check, but
I'm hurt.
I'm sorry, guys. I did bring in sliders the other day from Piedmontese.
Yeah.
You guys tried those, I think.
The ground beef has actually grown on me, by the way. It's
amazing.
But I'm gonna let you get back to your story because I don't want us to get off track.
No, well, I was just gonna say that like I remember cooking on Foreman grill, thinking like this is the best thing I've ever, like this is amazing. And then so we put the Piedmontese patties on there, and thankfully it's good meat. But man, I'm never cooking on a damn Foreman grill again. It just was nothing close to a grill. Obviously, pan fried would be amazing.
Yeah.
But if it wasn't Piedmontese beef, it would have tasted like a straight hockey puck. Like it just was not good. I was so shocked that it didn't taste awesome the way I remember cooking on because that's all I used to be able to cook on was a Foreman grill. Like literally dinner every night was on a damn grill. But I was shocked. I was upset. It's like if you watch like an old movie that you were fond of when you were a kid, and you look at it and you're like, this doesn't hold up at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, that's all I just wanted to report back.
Shout out to our boys over at Perfect Keto. Appreciate you supporting the podcast. Go over to Perfect Keto and get your discount. Get yourself some salted caramel collagen, or get yourself some cookie dough bars. They also have actual ketones, which can give you some energy. I know Nsima digs these electrolyte capsules, potassium, sodium, all kinds of neat things in there to keep you fueled when you're on a diet that has low carbohydrates. Andrew, tell them how they can get discounted.
Absolutely. So you guys need to head over to perfectketo.com/powerproject. You guys will see some of our favorites, like the nootropic. That's our jam. The electrolytes that Mark just talked about. That's Nsima takes those before he does jujitsu, so that way he doesn't kilt over and faint or die. Anyways, add all those in your cart at checkout. Enter promo code PowerProject for 15% off. Also, the cinnamon bun flavor bars. I think that's back to my number one again.
Cinnamon roll.
Yeah, a cinnamon roll. Like whatever.
There's only one king, and I've told you who the king is. Now you agree, so don't switch.
No. And this is just off of memory though, because I haven't had one. Like legit, haven't had one in a while.
Are you telling the truth?
I am telling the truth. I'm trying to get these abs. And then for Piedmontese, I highly recommend the sliders because they're super easy to cook and they taste amazing. But I did have the ribeye, the grass-fed, grass-finished.
Yes.
Oh my gosh!
I don't have that defrosted today. When I'm
just when
tomorrow.
You think can't get better, it does.
I thought you were supposed to save that for Thanksgiving.
No, that's the tomahawk, and I am saving that.
I have 2 of those tomahawks. I feel like I'm just gonna save them for Thanksgiving now.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Eat both of them then. But
yeah. Anyway, head over to Piedmontese.com. That's Piedmontese.com. At checkout, enter promo code PowerProject for 25% off your order. And if your order is $99 and above, you get free 2-day shipping.
Where can people find it, Andrew?
You guys can hit me up on Instagram at IamAndrewZ, and I think the shadow ban is completely off now.
Hey.
Yeah, I just uploaded a video using the hydrocore bag. I was pretty excited to use that. That's going to be a good staple of Shred-ageddon. That's where you guys can hit me up and say what's up and whatnot. And Nsima, where you at?
At Nsima Inyang on Instagram and YouTube. NSIMAINYANG.
Shout out to our boy Tyler, who we had on the podcast yesterday, Tyler Bray. Guys, go listen to that podcast. The guy was like so nonchalant about his situation. He was like, yeah, whatever. Everyone's got problems, and I got over mine. It's like, holy fuck, dude. Like, that's just an unbelievable mindset so strong that he's not going to allow anything to stop him. And I think that there's a lot to learn from somebody like that. You can find me at Mark Smellybell on Instagram. Strength is never weakness. Weakness is never strength. Catch y'all later.